Hello, Star Seeds Collective, everyone else, cross watchers. Welcome. Today's going to be a blackout, and I'm just going to let you know a little bit about myself and this journey that we're on. So, chances are, if you're listening to this, well, not everyone, of course. We all know that. But for the people that I am meant to reach, welcome to the spiritual journey. I want you to know that you will have more than one in your lifetime as you ascend and grow. Um, but I will say that my first heart chakra awakening, I think that that's honestly where it happens when your heart is opened with all I can say is that it is a feeling that you will have never felt before, and it will lead you to God if you're lucky. So about 5 years ago, I had my first heart chakra awakening, and I've had a few more since. And basically, what I take from the spiritual journey is that it's not only to achieve oneness within self, to make sure that you find your purpose, but also to assist you in finding union with another. Right? Our soul contracts aren't necessarily romantic all the time. You have soul contracts with the people that you work with. You have soul contracts with family members, and you also have soul contracts with love relationships. And you can choose. You can always choose to continue the contract that you've been signed up for, or you can leave. Especially with the soul contract in terms of relationships. A lot of people like to call that the twin flame journey. You're able to leave that contract, but depending on how you leave it and what you do, did you sew up the karma that's associated with the twin flame contract, or did you just ignore what needed to be done? If you don't uphold it, you will have to redo it now or in another lifetime. It'll come back to you. So, a couple more things that I want to address. When you're starting out on your spiritual journey, you may see a lot of birds. You may notice a lot of numbers, synchronicities. Like 111. All of a sudden, you're seeing that all the time. 222. Certain numbers associated with certain journeys within the spiritual journey. And a lot of it is also about listening to self and your intuition. So the problem with that is that if you have anything that's getting in the way, it will inhibit you from truly experiencing the journey that you're on. So say that you are with the wrong partner, right? And you think that it's working, but all of a sudden you start losing stuff. Your money's funny, right? Stuff starts coming down. It gets catastrophic. You start experiencing illness. Things happen sometimes in life. But if it is a constant thing, especially money, now, I had an interesting conversation where I was mocked for using the word energy. Let me explain energy. Energy is money. It is your time. It is your investment. It is everything that makes up you that you can then give out. It is your essence, right? It is so important. And so if your energy is being convoluted by someone who is not on the path, um, has no intention of being on the path and is not living a good life and is not good for you, you will start feeling stuff. You will start losing stuff. And it's because you're in the wrong place and God is trying to reset you. Or you're doing something wrong and you need to rethink your actions. If everything is going wrong in your life, if you were losing stuff in your life, you need to either look at yourself and what you're putting out there, because what you put out does come back, or you need to look at the relationships in your life and you need to decide if they're the ones that you need to continue with in order to be fruitful and successful. A lot of relationships they refer to along the spiritual journey when they are not the best, they'll call them karmic relationships, right? And these people are there really also to move you in the right direction. How does this show? Well, if you're with an individual who is sexually promiscuous and pillow talking, as a lot of people with ego do, and that's one of the things you learned along the spiritual journey, is that a union is between two. It's not between two and then another, or it's not one of those, oh, it's not working out and she does this, this, and this, even though he's still going back to her, right? That becomes a third party situation. So as you're listening to all this pillow talking and becoming jealous over a woman that you don't even know, people in the spiritual world like to call that spell work. I mean, now people do actually do that, and it does exist. Everyone does it in this world, especially, in upper echelons, Hollywood, your government. But when a lot of the times it's referred as spell work, it could just be thoughts. It could be a whole family listening to a conversation that has nothing to do with them that was included. And all of them could be a third party. It could just be their thoughts and what their feelings are and their projections. And then that can come upon the individual who's innocent. And it can affect a person. It can affect your morale. Have you ever noticed that you'll be in a relationship and it's kind of going dysfunctional and the other person's thriving, but you may not start feeling out. You may start feeling out of sorts. You may start, not looking your best. You may start, being depressed. It could be taking something out. It's because your energy is being siphoned. Your energy is then being siphoned from you and whoever the individual that you're with that you can then say is a karmic, right? Especially if they're involving other people in something that is between the two of you, then what that becomes is that your energy, your essence, the beauty that is you, starseed, then gets taken and that person is void in some way. But then they take your energy and they bring it to their other relationships and it revitalizes them while it depletes you. You'll learn that a lot along the spiritual journey. So a lot of that whole coming into the oneness of self is learning that you need to create boundaries and learning that you need to find that love within yourself that you might be trying to find in another, but you don't need to find that love in another. That exists within you and within the divine. That's it. And you'll be okay. Sometimes we end up in these relationships because we're not listening to our intuition. And sometimes we leave these relationships that may be beneficial because we're not listening to our intuition. I want you to remember one thing, especially if you're starting on this journey. The devil is the author of confusion. When it is right, it is right. When you involve other people, other entities into something that is supposed to be sacred between the two, that's when it becomes confusing. That's when you start hearing other people's opinions. That's when it starts messing with your head. Example, if you are getting advice from people who raised a broken household, if you were getting advice from people who are victims to addiction, if you were getting advice from people who've never had a real good working serious relationship, and then you apply that to the relationship that you were trying to work on, can you see how that might be an issue? Don't open yourself up to the advice of others if they've never been where you're trying to go. Okay? I want to also address that it's very simple, really. It's basics. Don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal. I want you to understand that if you are truly a starseed, I know that there are some of you out there, you could just I don't know, say something about somebody, or you could just go and do something and think you got away with it and You will have something come back on you tenfold. But you will have the person next to you lie, cheat, and steal their way through people, situations, and things and still keep standing and still keep being prosperous. And you know why? Don't worry about why. All you need to remember is that you were on your journey. You were on your own sacred journey. And they are on theirs. And what comes around goes around. So I've always been told that the reason why if you do something wrong and it immediately comes back to you is because you are a chosen one. You know better. And the reason why those other people are out there doing it and not getting away, they're not really getting away with stuff. But what ends up happening is they will reap what they sow later. They could do something and then all of a sudden lose something that is so important to them and be like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going through this. Well, what did you do to A, B, and C a year ago, 6 months ago, 2 days ago? What were you doing? You got to think about that. No one is exempt from karma. It's just the way that you go about it and how you're going to receive it. But no one is exempt. Always remember that. No one is exempt. It sounds easy, right? Don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal, right? Listen to the 10 Commandments. You'll be great. But people don't understand that. And all you'll find on here are people talking about karmics or people talking about third parties. Isn't that like coveting somebody, something or other? Isn't that like adultery? Just don't do it and you'll be fine. I know it sounds easier said than done, right? But it can be done. It's called discipline. One of the things that you'll learn along this spiritual journey is discipline. I'm going to tell you though right now that if you have any attachments, if you have anything that's keeping you down, I urge you to try to cleanse. Right? The best way to get in tune with spirit, with source, is to cleanse, is to fast. Because in that quiet, that's when you can hear God speaking to you. In that quiet is when you get revelation. Okay? No one's perfect. No one's asking you to be perfect. God knows you're not perfect and you're not supposed to be perfect. But what you can do is try to be a better person. And if you are a light worker, if you are an earth angel, if you are a star seed, if you are anything with one of those titles, if you are a chosen one, then you know. Then you know. Nothing, you don't have to be perfect, but there is a mission here for you. I'm trying to think about if there's anything else that I want to say. The last thing that I want to address before I go, we will have other blackouts. The last thing that I want to address is divination. You know, that's one of the things. We are told that divination is not right. But I want to stress this. Just as we're told that adultery is not right, but people tend to not be able to end relationships before they start new ones. Right? And then they create soul contracts. People lie. People hurt each other, right? We do all those things, but then we want to be stuck on one thing, right? So let's discuss divination. If you know that you have a calling and if you feel that you have been heard and you are not hurting anyone, if you have an open and loving heart and what you are really trying to do is be the best person that you can be on this earth for yourself and your family, then by all means possible, you get there and you do it by any means necessary. Man is man. Man is not your God. So I understand we have the Bible. I understand it talks about divination. It talks about a whole lot of other things that people are doing out in this world. But if you're not hurting anybody, if you're not sitting up here intentionally hurting other individuals, if you're not casting spells over people by gossip or humiliation or trying to affect their job or their living, then you're okay. Then you do you. I want you to think about the Catholic Church. I want you to think about the rituals that they do. People would say that that was kind of spell work. Happy Birthday is a song that is a ritual that is sung all of the time. Different cultures, Asian cultures, give offerings, give fruit to their ancestors. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. You want to burn a candle for your ancestors, ask for love and light and guidance, you go on ahead. There are worse things happening in this world, and that is the least thing to be worried about. So that's why I'm here. That's why I will be here. I have a calling. And the best thing to know is when you've reached your North Node and nothing will stop you. Why? No weapons formed against me shall prosper. None. Not when my heart is open and my heart is pure. So, that's just a little introductory to the spiritual journey. And there's so much more to that, right? With the spiritual awakening and listening to intuition and the twin flame journey. And what does all of that mean? And I'll talk about it a little bit more. But if you're beginning, if you're starting, start with me. I don't know everything, but I do know that I've experienced enough that I am here. I am willing to be that vessel that brings some type of knowledge. And it's not that you have to follow it, but it's about listening to yourself, taking the pieces that do apply to you and using them to make this world a better place. That's what it's all about. It's all about helping each other. It's all about love and experiencing love. That's it. It's just about love. That's all. And if you're here, and if you've gotten on this journey, chances are that love has not always been the easiest thing. From family, from growing up in your childhood, through relationships, and understanding counterfeits, and understanding that people sometimes take advantage, right? Starseeds, I want you to know this. I want you to know this. By the time you get to where I am right now, I know there is somebody crying. Woo! Let's talk about it. You were crying right now. And I am telling you, you won't be crying soon. Soon for you is not going to probably be tomorrow. We want to know when. We want to know tomorrow in 2 months. But let me tell you that once God has started working on you, you will have an iron suit of faith all around you. I want you to know that God loves you. I want you to know that you are protected. And I want you to know that you do not have to go to alcohol, to any type of quick fix, any type of things that keep you bound in order to numb the pain. You can go within. There is a strength with going in and looking at that pain and working through it. I promise you it doesn't last. But you have to turn around and face that storm. You got to walk through it. You have to. There is absolutely no other way, because then that is when you get to know who you are. And that is when no one can shake you or your faith or tell you who you are. I don't need anyone to tell me who I am, what my purpose is, and what kind of life I'm living, because I know my truth. You know your truth right now. You know if you're not no good. You know if you messed up that last relationship. You know if you were greedy. You know the minute that you knew you weren't any good and you decided to keep being no good. And you also know when you saw those red flags. What did I say? It starts with you, your truth, your essence. Be real with yourself. First, second date. Did you see some red flags but still thought it was cute? What did that person say that made you go, What about their family history made you go, What about their behavior and the things that they're tied to made you go, And you still continued? Tell me. Be honest. Look at it. Through your tears, find that strength. What was it? And that's okay. Start with you. Start truly looking at you. If you're the type of person that has no self-control, don't go messing with somebody that has a ton of discipline. You always going to have a problem. And I'll tell you another thing about this spiritual journey. If one or the other of the people that you are in a relationship ain't doing right, you will know. Don't look the other way. You will know. They tell you. You will know. They do tell you. You weren't crazy. You aren't crazy. What are the main things that people use when they're trying to make themselves look right? I'm going to tell you a secret. This is how you know that you are coming in contact with an emotionally stable person. When you ask about their past relationship, one, they're not still connected to it. And two, they don't have a long diatribe of things that was wrong with them or what they were doing. Three, they don't make you feel self-conscious by saying the good things about them and have you second guessing yourself. All right? Take that. Start there. Start there. If he's constantly saying how crazy she was and what she was doing, I guarantee you 90%. He's projecting and he's doing every single thing that he was putting on her. And she has no voice. Because you sitting up and pillow talking with somebody and you think it's cute and you think, oh, he chose me. No, how you get them is how you lose them. And what he did with the last, he will do with you. You are not exempt. So be real with yourself right now at the place you're in. And it's going to be okay. Know where you're at and be real with yourself. And God will welcome that. But I will tell you this before I go. A foundation must be solid. If a foundation is faulty at all, God will let you know and you will know. Nothing will ever be right. Nothing will ever be right in that relationship. It will always have a problem. It will always have an issue. There will always be a blow up because it wasn't started off properly. So start your relationships off on the right foot. End your relationships the right way. Respect the person that you're with. Be emotionally mature, but also be real with yourself on how you're handling the people around you. How did you handle your last relationship? How was that left? How did you start your new one? Did you give yourself time in between to check in and say, what did I do? What can I do better? What can I say that I need to work on instead of blaming them for the demise? What part did I play? Be real with yourself. And you be real with yourself when you're asking that next person. Do not gloss over that. I will tell you this. Actions speak louder than words. There were certain sayings that we grew up with, right? That are still tried and true. Actions speak louder than words. What goes around comes around. All of those things apply to the spiritual journey. If somebody is acting off, they are off. Something is wrong. Sometimes you can work with them. But I'm going to tell you, if it leaves you in tears longer than a day, if it leaves you in tears for so long, and if that individual knows that and doesn't respect you enough to talk with you through it after all you've shared, then you just know that wasn't for you and those tears can go. It's okay. Feel it. Like I said, though, go through it, cry those tears, but you turn around and you face that storm and then you start walking. And the difference between someone who is spiritually charged and someone who is not, I bet you make it through that storm standing. I bet you make it through. Stuff will try to hit you, but you will keep walking. People will try to come for you, but you will keep walking. You will make it through that storm on the other end, and it will be a sunny day. Trust and believe. Trust and believe. No, the devil must be let in. So don't go backwards. Don't make any phone calls, and you will be fine. Once you ascend to another level, you are completely untouchable anyway, and the devil needs to be let in with permission. So don't let the devil in with permission. Do not do it. Whatever vices that you have, start working on them. It won't all happen at once, and God loves you regardless. But if you know within your heart that you need to work on something, work at it slowly and surely, and it will come. What you put out there comes back to you. What your mind manifests into your outer reality. That is the case. That is it. It starts with you. It starts with your process. It starts with your boundaries and what you allow. People think they're being funny, you know? People on this channel think they're being funny. But it couldn't be any further from the truth, because if you're here, God's talking to you. No matter what you feel about me. And I don't care. I know who I am. I know why I'm here. And perfection is not what I strive for. I am continuously learning, continuously evolving, and change happens. I've discussed change with people in the past and been told, how can you change? Change is hard. Change is very hard, but so worth it, and it can be done. Remember, starting off, words matter. The minute something comes out your mouth, you have put it out into the universe and it starts happening. If you're negative, that negativity will start happening all around you and you won't be able to get out of it. So even if you're feeling a certain way, transmute that stuff into something beautiful. I'll tell you, you can call it spell work. You can call it jealousy. You can call it lying on me. You can call it laughing at me. You could call it ridiculing me. You could think it's funny to listen to a person's vulnerability. But I tell you what, times when I've known that I was being, what's the word I'm looking for? And I apologize, guys. You know, when you start listening to yourself, you start realizing the words that you keep repeating. Is one of mine. I'll be working on that. But when you realize that you when you realize that your vulnerability is your best asset, when you realize that when you are in a relationship and you can be open with your partner and really show them who you are, really be open and really let yourself be seen, regardless of the actions that they're doing at that moment. If you can be authentic with yourself in any situation, you will always rise above, and it doesn't matter. Laugh now, cry later, because it's coming for you. That's all I got to say. And I will let you know this. You know, everyone is a child of God. But I tell you, when you mess with someone who has a purpose, when you mess with someone with the best of intentions, when you laugh or you gossip or you joke about someone's feelings, or when you lie on them, it will hit you. And it never has to be through one of the chosen. All that stuff where you think ill will on someone and you want something bad to happen to someone, you gotta be careful what you put out there. Because what happens is that when no one knows that they're protected, when one says, I am protected by the light of God and the blood of Jesus Christ, I rebuke whatever is sent my way and return to sender. Your job is done. This journey is not for the weak. This journey is for the strong. This journey is for the chosen, because the chosen are the ones that follow through. That's it. I believe in you. I believe in me. I believe in us. And I just hope that I can give you something. Know that when you listen to these messages, especially on YouTube, not all of the message has to be for you, right? But there could just be one thing in that whole message that pertains to you. And that's where your intuition comes in. And that's one of the hardest things I found, right? To be able to listen to self. And people go meditation, but they don't really tell you about meditation. Meditation isn't necessarily just sitting in silence, though that is great. You can ask a question to God and just sit. And then you could just go throughout your day. Once you put that question out there, it'll come to you though. You'll get the answer. Meditation can also be exercising, right? While you're in that zone, while you're working out, like you're tuned in, you're tapped in. You're using that energy, you're working those cells. That's a form of meditation. So always know that it is not just the silence. Some people can't handle that. You know, some people can't just handle the silence right now. So it could be music, putting on certain music, listening to certain beats. YouTube is great for certain tones, certain subliminals. If you find yourself in a negative space right now, go and look for subliminals that are to uplift you, to bring you success, to bring you happiness. Those things work, but it's all about getting in tune. And there are so many ways to get in tune. So many. Not just one way. Just like I don't feel any religion is necessarily wrong. It's all those ways that you are trying to get to the divine. However you can get there, if you are truly earnest, do you. But don't mistake jealousy and ego for part of this journey, because what I tell you is that will be slapped off of you in a hot minute. You will be humbled so much. I have been humbled. I have been humbled. And that is okay, because that's just part of the journey. So I know this was long, and I just want you to know that there's hope. There is light at the end of that tunnel, and God is here. God is all around us. God is listening. And that's why, for the life of me, I can't understand why people do people wrong and then think they're going to get away with it. You can't ever get away with it. You can get away with it if someone is in tuned and tapped in. But if someone is tuned and tapped in and they tell you they're tuned and tapped in, believe them. Because, see, it's not about ego. So someone can be tuned and tapped in and you'll never hear anything else about it. One that's boastful, one that would claim, no, not that person. Look at them. That's not. Hey, that's the one that you got to watch out for. The one that can designate who is this and who is that. Who are you? Who are you? Do you have jealousy and ego in you? Yeah. Yeah. You got to get rid of that. That'll kill you. Really. It'll have your mind going in all kinds of ways. All kinds of ways. Don't miss out, too, on the goodness that can be brought. Try not to miss out. Try to form connections that uplift, right? Try to form connections that empower. Try to form connections that improve you. You ever heard, you ever seen, and I've seen plenty through all my own friends, and coworkers, but you ever see people who started off broke as a couple, but they grinded and they had kids. And I've talked to many different married people who are successful and true to their connection, right? And one of the things is and you go, well, how are you making it? And they just go, oh, we just found a way. Yeah. They found a way because they were doing right. They found a way because they were working together for that mission, for that ultimate goal, be it their home, their household, their children. That's their mission. So they poured into that. That is a prime example of union coming together and building something fruitful, right? Now, let me give you an example of one that's not. You're in a union and one of those people are messing around. or one of those people constantly involve people in your business, or they constantly are involving others, or searching for outside validation, right? You have people that can't be alone, so they need that validation. You have, unfortunately, sorry to bring up this word again, but you have narcissists, right, who need supply and who need to feel their value because they can't see their own, right? So they may be with somebody, but then they always have a back. If they get triggered in any way, they'll start having that backup, right? That backup could just be talking, that backup could be online, but that backup exists, right? Even in the face of having someone. Here's the problem. The couple that has the family, has the home, has the life, where then they could say 50 years down the line, I'm so happy I did this. I wouldn't have done it with anyone else. Is because they poured that strife. They poured those arguments. They poured those worries into each other and grew something. They fertilized that soil so that something beautiful could grow from it. When you are in a relationship that is fractured, and that's where your third parties come in, that's where the terminology karmics come in, there's a fracture. There is a crack in the concrete and in the foundation. And so the energy, yes, the energy, the expressions, the sadness, the happiness, the angst, the joy, the frustration, everything that should be worked out between the two, it gets like outsourced. So you may have that relationship, but then if one of the people in the relationship feel a certain type of way, they go and get energy from somebody else that makes them feel happy, instead of coming to their partner and going, how can we work this out so we can grow stronger? There is nothing that exists as a happy relationship. And everybody has their things to work on. But when you go to other people to fix something that needs to be between the two, it invites those other people and all of their energy into your own. And then it's no longer your own with your person. It's maybe you with your person, but this is your person, and your person's everything else. Everyone else, from work to coworkers to friends to people they meet to everyone that you don't know about, right? Or vice versa. You may be doing that, right? But it's not authentic, and so it won't last, and it will not grow. If you were crying, I'm going to tell you, don't go back. If you are crying, I'm going to tell you that now is the time for solitude. And I know that you hate to hear that, because I hated to hear that. All I can tell you is that you will get through it. It will get better. And you may have to go through it again. And that's just God's honest truth, until you really truly learn yourself, until you really truly get it. And then I want to tell you something. I want you to understand that it is so true. All you have to do is call on God. Call. Surrender. Right now, in the state that you're in, surrender. God, I surrender. Please show me my path. Please show me what is being done behind my back. Please allow me to see so that I may heal this confusion that has been brought my way. And when I tell you that those gates will open, those gates will open. I am proof those gates will open. And it will leave people mystified every single time. As we get older, We are taught to ignore our intuition, those feels, the back of your hair going up, your dreams that you have. All of that matters. This world is spiritual. Money, currency. Currency is energy. All that is. And if it's leaving your hands really fast, and if you broke and crying, there's a problem with that. It means that somewhere there is lack in your life, and it is coming through the physical transformation of your money and of anything else. What are you losing? What just got crashed? What did you how is family? How is life? How's your living situation? And how is that looking with how you living? I guarantee you they're parallel. Be real with yourself. Be truthful with yourself. And I'll enjoy you on the next Blackout. Till then, take care. And it's going to be okay. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad all of you are here. Thumbs ups or not, I'm happy. Are you? That's the question. Are you happy where you sitting right now? Are you happy? Are you faithful? Is your partner faithful? Do you have trust in your partner to be there for you? Do you? And if you do, congratulations. I am so happy for you. But if you don't, and if you can sit and find some issues, if something is off, question that. Question it. And just know, starseeds and earth angels, that heart of yours, it is open. I know. But you can't help nobody who's not willing to help themselves. So stop being a person who takes on charity cases. Stop looking for people's, what is it that we look for with people? Stop looking for what they are what they might be able to bring to the table, and look at what they actually bring to the table. Look at what their fruitfulness looks like. Look at what their habits look like. And think if that matches your own. Where are you at? You attract who you are. That is a hard pill to swallow, isn't it? You attract who you are. So that means when you looking at yourself, and I can't even explain it, right? Because if you're not a liar and you attract a liar and you like, but you said I attracted who I am. Look. Sometimes we grow up with liars, and sometimes those are attachments. And sometimes those attachments can sense out those other attachments. And maybe you trying to get out of it, but there's something lingering around your spirit that those entities have found and have gotten on you. What's your family like? You may have been that one that got out, but what's the rest of them like? And if you loving the rest of your family, because no one is perfect, then you gonna love somebody who comes and may be like your family because they're not perfect. The problem is you think that you are denying them. You're not denying them. It's okay to be better. It's okay to not accept that. That's what I meant with not settling. It's not about finding the faults in somebody else. It's what do I need in my life, and looking at that individual and seeing if their life aligns with yours. And if there is no alignment, that is where you're settling, because you are settling for someone who is not on the level that you're at. And I'm not even saying it's above or beneath them. I'm just saying that it's not where you are. Not where you are. That's settling. When you can't seem to end the things that you grew up with and you continue them, communication style, how you interact with others, and it's negative, but you take it and you see it. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, but accepting the different results, right? So that could be with these karmic relationships where you keep going and going through cycles. And let me tell you, person says, I've changed. And then you ask them a question and there is really no concrete answer and they're just smooching it over because they don't care anyway. Go run the other way. Don't sit there and accept it. And don't be tempted. Temptation is amazing. You remember how the devil showed Jesus, hey, all this could be yours. Jesus was like, I'm good. I'm good. Physical temptation, the temptation of the body, that is a downfall for a lot of people. And sometimes that's a person's way to get in and really mess up your brain. We have brain chemicals that and oxytocin that gets released, and we're human, and we're in this we're spiritual beings in a human experience. So we need to remember that these are human feelings. When you are attracted to someone, sex is a human experience, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's the right experience you should be having. Look at the sexual health of people, right? Your partner. What are they doing? Who are they laying down with? How is that affecting you? Right? Once you're not in a relationship where it's the two, that means that you laying down with everyone that your partner is laying down with. God forbid you lay down and it's not the spiritual STI that you get, but it's the physical. And it may be something that you can't get rid of. Because once you lay down with someone, you absorbing whoever they're with, right? But then just think about it. Think about like your own body and loving yourself. And once you get on that vibe, I love myself, I love my body, it is just too much going on out here to be dealing with someone who is not genuine. And sometimes you won't know, but you will get those inklings, you will get those feelings. And if you hear, and if you on this spiritual journey, you getting it, you getting the messages, you just not listening to yourself. Love yourself first. Love your temple that your spirit is inhabiting right now, and do right by it. Welcome the right people and get rid of the wrong. And it is easier said than done, but you are a warrior and you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. So do it and come back and listen to more. I will be glad to talk. Take care, starseeds.